G'day everyone, welcome back. Steel Horse here, and we're on Griffin, Indiana. It just kicked over into August, and let's put the clock back to 6 times where we usually play. So after the last episode, we cleaned off the bales and the straw that was on that field. We've ended up with about 120 or so 5,000 litre bales, but maybe just under. One of the jobs today is to pick up the grass that's on this field and get that into our fermenting silos. So as a first order of business, we'll just run the header over it. We'll get a worker helping us out and get that headed up, windrowed, so that we can efficiently pick it up with the forage wagon. So we'll get our worker sorted here. Let's see. So we want to... We've actually got a course by the looks. Let's create the job and just have a look at what the 7.8 meters, that feels about right. So I think we'll generate that course, and that looks all right. And the start is right about where we are, so we'll get the mower out of the way. We can get this back to the farm. And leave that working through that process. The other thing we need to do, again, we've got rain on the way, and after the last episode and the decision to keep the harvester and see if we can organise a few helpers to get us through harvests on other farms. We've got harvest activity down on field 23 and field 16, and Kevin's also picked up another one of those cultivating contracts on field 4. So with the rain coming, pretty keen to get the harvester sorted. So we'll duck down there and get on with that. We might take the truck down so that we're organised and ready to do some carting when that's required. Let's just put the mower away. The field's not far away from us. Kevin ran the harvester down here yesterday evening so that he'd get a good running start on it, and the plan is to very much use workers where we can. So we'll get the harvester running on course play, and whilst we could get the truck helping us on course play as well, we'll just set the job up here first. So CP field work, we're on field 16. This is the field, the target position. Let's see if you can get you to start just in front of us. Work width is pretty close. Let's do 2 headlands. Down automatics, generate the course. And it's going to start around the other side. So we might just drive around there, I think. Where is that Just show us the course there for a second. So if we went from the nearest waypoint here, that would be better strategy. Let's just see how we go. That'll work. Now we could, being a very regularly shaped field and given where it is with the short drop off over at the rail station, I'm fairly confident we can run the truck on auto drive. However, it'll spend a lot of time with the worker waiting because the truck capacity is only just a little bit bigger than the harvester. We'll spend most of our time with one vehicle waiting for the other. So I'm inclined to leave him here going until we see that the harvester fills, and then we can pop over and sort out the empty with the truck. In the meantime, we've got the cultivator that we need to move from the store to field 4. Or not field 4, sorry, field 23 for cultivating. So let's go and get that one sorted out. So the equipment they've given us is the same cultivator combination that we had once before, and we know the driver for this one, so everyone was quite relaxed about the opportunity that this presented just to get some additional cash flowing in. And this one's kind of an easy one, and with any luck it won't require much oversight at all. Just sort of set and forget. At least that's the plan. Field 23 is just up ahead of us here. Memory serves, it's the field that we harvested almost 2 months ago. So the main thing we've just got to watch through the day is just the progress of that harvester, and in particular the rain, so that we pause at the right time. This isn't the field we harvested. I don't think it's the one beside it, but nonetheless, it'll do nicely for what we want. So if we set this guy up on course players, oh no, it might have been. We might have cut this section off. Hard to say. All the fields look the same after a little while. So we want to create a job. Our target position here, if we can get it on this field. $14 meters, 1 tool, 2 headlands, and let's see what the course looks like. Looks pretty good. We'll actually, it starts up ahead of us, so we'll open up here. And just cultivate up to where the course starts. If we pop you down. That left the course and stopped. That's interesting. So our harvester has gotten tangled up somewhere. We might need to go and investigate that. Find out what he's done. But in the meantime, we'll get this one underway. The main farm, because he was so happy with the harvest yields and particularly the bonus straw. So the nearest waypoint we'll do from here, and we'll head across to the harvester. It wasn't the harvester that had left the course, it was the windrower. Our harvester's going pretty well, but while we're here, let's go on and give him an unload so he can continue. And then we'll go up and fix the windrow. As I was saying, because Kevin's feeling pretty good about funds situation, he's been doing some research and discussing things with Jocelyn, and I think now's the time to beef up their cattle operation, so to speak. So looking this month to put in fields, they've picked out a spot which we'll go and look at shortly. Interesting in that they hadn't thought of it before, but it enables them to do it without impacting their current fields. So that was a bit of a pleasant surprise. So that should work out quite well. And if they can put a pasture in and then stock it with a dozen or so cattle, the normal strategy is to sort of buy half a dozen or so calves and a half a dozen mature cattle, and then see where that leaves them. We might drop off there and see what he's going to go down the end. That's pretty much the full tank because we started near the end of the first headland. Unfortunately, what we might do is fix this end. Headland to stop the driver driving on the crop. We'll do that the next time we come back, because he's going to be on the up and downs now. Let's just go and get our windrower sorted out. Where have you gotten yourself stuck on the fence by the looks? It's the course. We've got a headland there, we've got a headland there where you're trying to turn. Tell which waypoint you're actually up to. Let's see here. So, you pick nearest waypoint here, where are you going to go? That'll work. And so while we're here, we'll duck over and have a look. So if we have a look at the map for this field, so we're down here, And in particular, if we go to the farmland map, you'll see we own block 45, which takes us all the way to the end of this section that we've got, where we've made a sort of a finger extension on the field that we had wheat in. Now, what we haven't done anything with is this little woodland patch that it turns out that we own up the end here. And so Kevin's thought was to say, well, probably needs to be thinned out a little. But if we have a look, and we also have a look at the land, it's likely that most of this patch is silty clay, which is not terrific arable soil type. However, it would be ideal for running some cattle if we, over time, just thinned it out a little bit. So the thought is, if we put a feedlot of some description in from this boundary here, we've got enough room on the edge of the field to be able to run a roadway. It's pretty flat and even. So the idea is, if we spin around for a minute and have a look at our landscaping tool, we can maybe make it a bit bigger. Sort of pick this middle section here and just make sure that the edge is nice and flat, so that if we place anything along there, that's about as far as we're going to want to go. We've got a nice flat section for any items that get drawn in, and then we look at our animals, and then we've got a few choices. That one only holds 15 cows. Don't really want a building over here. Like the idea of this feedlot potentially, although it does look a little harsh. It holds 250, so we don't need 250. In fact, this mod, just an aside, the actual mod does 1,000 in that area, which seemed to me to be wholly unrealistic even for a feedlot. So I wound it back to 250, but even so, that for our other general land use still seems potentially a little high. Doesn't mean we need to stock it to that level, of course, but that's one option. We've got this cow breeding pen, which is quite sizable. That kind of looks the right sort of size. 45 cows, but 75,000. So our funds don't go that far at the minute. The fenceless husbandry, which we've used before, which we would have to fence at 60 cows. That's what we're using on the other side of the homestead. And then this open pasture, which looks kind of interesting, which is already fenced, and which he's thinking, if we just sort of positioned that roughly there and turned on the free placement, we could drop that in like so. And now we've got room for 60 more cows. It's fenced all the way through. We can put some cows into it, but more importantly, we can thin it out at our leisure. So that's kind of the idea. And what we'll do shortly, when we've got some a bit more time between fills, is run down to Larson's and pick up some cows. But meanwhile, we have to get back to the harvest because we've got some unloading to do. And here we are. The harvester's pulled up quite conveniently for the trucks, so we'll turn around here and we'll get most of you emptied out, I'm guessing. Get about 8,000 or 9,000, so probably about half the tank out. Is that rain? Sounds like rain, so we'll stop the harvester before it gets too much further down. Because that won't do our contract yields any good. This is a good time to take the unload across to the train silo. Just fix that so it looks a bit more like it's going into the tank. There we go. How much of this will we get out? And more importantly, how long is the rain with us? So it should only be a short shower and then we're going to be good for the rest of the day. So that's okay. Let's head... I can turn the harvester off for the minute and head across to the train silo. And while we're there, we'll pop into the shop because the other thing we need to be having a look for, and we might not pick it up today, but we need to think about a feed mixer so that we can start to get some silage or start to create some TMR and get our milk cows producing milk. So that's in the order of proceedings for maybe the next game day. If something doesn't leap off the page, we might be a bit short on cash for that right at the minute. We might need these contracts finished. This contract's on field 16, pretty sure is going to Mount Vernon. We'll just check before we drop it in the silo here. We're on field 16. It is going to Mount Vernon. So let's drop you off. In fact, both the contracts are going to Mount Vernon, so that'll be fine. Let's pop across the way into the shop. While that's unloading, something is blocked. I'm guessing that'll be our windrower again. Probably should have done an extra headland. So if we have a look, so we're only ever going to have 50 or so. So we don't need to go the big Silo King solution. We don't have a TLX. So that looks like that's a straw cutter. That puts us back in one of these three by the looks. 12 meters, 22 meters, 24 meters. So probably one of these two would do the job quite nicely. And if we leased it, it'd work out at $450 a day because it Doesn't get much work, but $2,300. There's nothing in the sale, is there? Not that's suitable. So I'm thinking while we're here, let's just go right ahead and lease one of these. And we can pick it up later on when we've got a little bit more time. Now, what's blocked up there? Looks like one of our workers is taking a break. Well, given we're here, why don't we use the truck? We can duck back up the top and sort out our worker up there, drop the feed mixer off at the farm, and then by then the rain might have stopped and come back down and restart the harvester. That might be a bit of a plan. Try and keep the day as logistically efficient as we can. Well, it won't. Oh, it because it's got a PTO on it. Oh well, that was a good idea. Nonetheless, we'll duck up and check what's happening with our just scoot through before the train comes. We'll check what's happening with our windrower. On the way past, we might do a quick eyeball check on the cultivation. How's that going? Let's see the cultivator. It's just on the second headland. Is it coming across the front? Let's have a look at the map. Maybe it's this one that's stuck. It's disappeared off the screen, so I'm guessing it's gotten itself stuck somewhere on the other side. Let's go hunting. Where have you gone? Oh, you made a nasty mess. Looks like you're all the way over there. We might have to compensate this farmer for the piece of the edge. Sheila won't be happy about the edge of her crop. And is this us over playing havoc with the oil? Not sure how you managed to get here, but it's a problem we can solve, I hope. Thankfully you didn't cultivate all the way across here. So maybe a little more supervision of this activity might be required than we originally thought. At least our worker up on the farm has decided to stop for the moment, so we can put 2 headlands down this side, which might significantly improve the or reduce the risk of it running out of the field. Just as well we stopped in. Okay. Line you up. Down we go. At least this is productive use of the rain time, and it's not costing us anything other than a little bit of our day. And if you pick up the course here, where are you going to go? That should get into less trouble, I hope. And any minute now, the rain should stop. There, speaking of, we might leave the windrower because we do want this harvesting to finish. This little bit down here is probably only worth 100 litres or so, but you never know when that 100 litres might be useful. Cultivating contract is half done. That's going very quickly. I'll just get this headland done and then we can restart the workers. Any luck, there'll be enough in the tank to just about top off the truck, and so we can put workers on both delivering for the remainder of this field. And that should work out fairly well. We'll just pause there. We'll take an empty for the truck. There's only 6,000 litres in the truck, so we'll put both of them on course play because there's probably only 2 tank loads for the harvester left on the field, and it's just a question of timing, and because the harvester will be empty, it won't call the truck until it gets substantially full, and then of course what will happen is by the time that the truck comes, it'll only take a little to finish off, and then the harvester will have to wait. So it's just not an ideal situation for course play. It could cost quite a lot in terms of wages and things. So let's see how much is in the truck. 13,000. So what we'll do is go to the other end and wait till it turns, and we'll follow it back down, which should allow us to get the truck full. And then if we put the truck on the auto drive course, the reason it's gone back to straw swath on the harvester is a setting in course play, if you're wondering. Whilst I turned it off when I was driving, got it set to straw swath in course play, which we can fix momentarily. We're going to get full before the end of the row, I hope so. Be close. not quite. It's a bugger. Let's see what happens. Get you out of the way. Have you got enough to unload? Maybe you do. So if we just go to our course play settings for the harvester, combine settings, straw swath, we turn that off. And now we should find there's no straw swath. So that's how you do that if you were wondering. Our truck should now be heading it's going to wait because it's not 95% full, I think, or is it going to go? No, it looks like it's heading to the unload point. Has it found a... there's a bit... So the auto drive course has got a big circle there. That's what it was doing. It's found its way off the field. So we can leave him to go. Let's have a look. Decided that it just couldn't turn in that little spot there. What are we stuck on? I see. The swath that was in front, it judged was too big for the to navigate over, which is probably not a bad call. Let's stop you there. Head back over here and we can start picking some grass up. Looks like we're going to get plenty off this field, so that will also be a good thing. Should be able to get a load done pretty quickly before we have to go and check on our harvesting activities again. Seeing how easy it was to put that field down in the grove down the end, we might need to look at other opportunities to buy into the surrounding forest land and extend our farm by just taking over a little bit of the edge of the woodlands without losing the whole feel of the place, but in the meantime maintaining our fields here, which gives us good arable income. I did think about putting a cow pen abutting this natural pond here, but it's a little bit deep and he was just worried about the cows getting stuck in the mud and a bunch of issues with contaminating that water source. We've finished our cultivating contract, which is great. Might be a good opportunity when we've got a full load of grass here to have a look and see if we've got any more cultivating contracts we could take advantage of. Because that was a very handy way to pick up $11,000. Well, there are less the cost of the equipment, of course, so maybe 10. And judging by how quickly we haven't even done a lap of the field, and we've taken nearly, oops, didn't do a very good job there, 60,000 litres of grass off. We are going to have a lot of silage from this field, which is terrific. Really good result. So certainly for the amount of cattle that we're running and our general needs, this field presented the way it does provides enough grass for us. We just need to reconfigure now, armed with the precision farming information, because so much of this grass field is loam, and so we'd be better off putting the crop, more of the crop at this end, and grassing the smaller field at the other end where we had the oats. So that's something we can look at over the coming month. Let's just drop this in the silo, fermenting silo. Just got a trailer parked just slightly in an inconvenient spot there. So the contract situation, we finished that cultivating, fertilizing. There's some more harvesting. What's this? There's a big canola contract, 41,000. Going to Mount Vernon. There's a smaller canola contract. I don't think Kevin wants to take on potatoes, although there are a couple of those that look interesting. Might have a bit of a think about the canola contracts. He's got plenty of work now to do on his own place, particularly with the extra stock that he's taking on. If there was another cultivating contract, that'd be fairly attractive. But maybe doesn't. Maybe the sorghum contract might be interesting. Let's wait and see. No rush today. Now, here's our grass situation. So I've got a little bit of silage racked up there now, and we're going to get a whole bunch more. So that's a good spot to be. The harvester is full, and that suggests the truck is not back. So we will duck down there and check what's happening or not happening. We're not going to fuss with it. We will do the task ourselves. Probably only 3 more runs to tidy the last of the crop off that field. And when he gets up, we'll take the last of the crop and send our worker back to the silo to empty it. And then we can get the harvester across to field 4, because we'll take the crop off there. We'll get the train once and send 1 train load. Looking at the projections in our contract tool, we turn our details on, suggesting that we need about 64,000 litres from field 16 and about 30,000 litres from field 4. So 94,000, 95,000 litres maybe. We know we don't get any credit for extra, so we'll see how that comes up when the time comes. We don't want to send any more than 95,000. And if for some reason we end up a fraction short, we do have plenty in our silo we could top it up with. But I'm hoping we end up with a nice surplus like we did the last time we did contract harvesting. That would be a very pleasant bonus. So the truck is full. So we can send you across to unload. Meanwhile, you can finish here. So the other thing we were going to look at is what are the costs of the fields that surround here. So these ones are quite large. Eventually these ones at the end, 189,000, 206,000, 280. So potentially our harvest gets us pretty close if we wanted to take that direction. Maybe we've got to do another year and build up our cattle to the point where they can help fund the field to expand the operation. If we have a look at the cattle that we've already got, now that they're fed a little bit better, you can see the sell price has come back. The health is almost back to 100% now that they've got plenty of food. We'll need some water shortly, but you know, when you're getting in excess of 3,000 a head, which we will, if we can build up to a couple of hundred head of cattle, that will keep Kevin and Jocelyn's bank manager quite happy. Take this over to the silo. There's a couple more loads in here through the course of the day, no doubt. We arrived just in time. The harvester is finished. We'll get an empty... The truck stops running away from us. Probably 2 to 3 tanks off this field, which means if we get around the headland the rate we're going, we'll be halfway around the field in a minute, so it'll be about half a tank. We can probably then run the regular AI just up and down while we duck back and get the truck. Should do the job. Here we go. And we're very short wait while we're just about in time for a full grain tank, so not quite full, but we've got less than, more than half the field done, so the remainder will fit into single truckload. So we can go and organise the train. And you never know, we might have the 95,000 litres we need. We'll just double check our calculation in the silo already. Around, yeah. Train's going to arrive, it's 15 kilometres away, so a great surprise there. While we're waiting, we might just check the contract situation. So we said 64,000 there and 30,000 600 there, so 95,000, let's call it. So 95,000 should be plenty. There are no more cultivating contracts for the moment. So what we can go ahead and do is collect on this one. And after we've delivered our 95,000 of oats, we'll be able to collect on the other two. Just got 8,000 litres to unload here. And that is all the crop off field 4. Hopefully the train will already have arrived, so if not, it shouldn't be too far away. And we can see about getting these 2 contracts delivered. He's probably done enough hours in that harvester and seems to be thinking no more for this season. Oh, here comes the train. That's perfect timing. We'll unload the truck and see how good a guess we are at trying to judge 95,000 litres out of the silo. Let's see how we go judging the head here. Oops, we shut the cover. Start filling. The oats. So we've got 102,000 litres there, and we only want to put 95 in if we can. So R is stop filling. 40, 60, 80, 90, and it only took 95,000 litres, 90,000 litres in that car. So let's move along to the next one. So we only want to put 5,000 in here. And that'll do us. So we have 95,450 on the train. Let's see how we go. What? We was robbed. Well, that wasn't much fun. So I think what has happened there, so we had 90,000 in the first car, and it said, oh, well, all of that car is for field 4, so it's delivered that, but it didn't need anywhere near 90,000 litres. The 5,000 that was in the second car, it said, oh, well, we'll put that towards field 16. So it threw away the rest of the first car and ripped us off royally. So that's very annoying. but it's something which will have to be fixed outside the game. I think Kevin's not responsible for that sort of error. It will just take some negotiation with the powers that be. So we'll collect on field 4 and we'll have to go and sort out field 16. But after such a good amount of progress, that's just more than a little frustrating. But these sort of administrative contract snafus happen from time to time, and you've just got to be patient and work your way through the administration. All the records are there. It's quite clear we shipped 95,400 litres for the 2 contracts. It was on the train, and we'll have the paperwork to prove it. But for now, it's a bit of a walk back to the truck. The one thing we can do is make a phone call and let them know that we've finished with the harvester, so we can return that, and we're finished with the header and the header trailer. And so with that in mind, we might leave it here. It's just gone 6 in the evening. We can walk back. We might stumble across a watering hole in town and knock the top off a cold one. So until next time, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. We've got another field that we now need to stock. We'll be back down to Larson's next time to pick up some more cattle and collect the rest of the grass and sell some of that silage out of the fermenting silos. So we also will get our cows fed some TMR and get on with some milk production. So all to play for. Until next time, stay safe. See ya.